Welcome to the Unbearables podcast. I'm Brandon Ruiz, and I'm here with
Emilio
and Jack Cowart.
And today we're going to talk about Magic Johnson's and Rob Pelinka's reasoning of how they assembled the Lakers. So, what they said is LeBron came to them and said he thinks that trying to beat the Warriors at their own game is a trap. So, I'm not exactly sure how you beat the Warriors, but I'm not sure if scoring a lot of points is a bad thing. So, I want to ask you guys about this. I'm not sure.
Well, I definitely, at the end of the day, if you outshoot somebody, you outshoot somebody. So you get more points. But I understand what they're saying, and I think the easiest way to see it is what happened with the Rockets. They just aren't, like, you're going against one of the best shooting teams ever. So to strive to specifically outshoot them is a trap because you're just not going to do it.
Yeah.
And I do actually agree with what they were saying. I think toughness and defense and holding them to a low score is the best way to beat the Warriors. I mean, it's the way they beat them in 2016. And I felt like the Cavs really lost who they were, especially this year, but slightly in 2017. But, I mean, you still need some shooters, though.
Yeah. I do think
someone's got to shoot the three, though. Someone
does. And I do think it's also very interesting that Rob Pelinka compared Lance Stevenson to Dennis Rodman. Now, he did also compare him to Ron Artest, but Dennis Rodman, a Hall of Famer, is Lance Stevenson ever even sniffing the Hall of Fame?
No.
And I understand, I do believe Lance Stevenson has a high basketball IQ, and I do believe Rajon Rondo has an extremely high basketball IQ.
One of the highest in the league.
Yeah, they said as soon as he showed up to their facility, he asked them who was their film guy to get all he needed to understand every single player on the Lakers roster's game. Mm-hmm. And I thought that was very interesting, but that's a very Rondo thing to do. So
absolutely.
I mean, I think just having him on your team alone is a very smart idea, if he can coexist with your players. But I don't know. I don't know how this Lakers team is trying to beat the Warriors. I thought maybe they're going to give it a year and see how everything goes and try to sign another big-name free agent next season or try to get a Luol Deng trade going with somebody. But it seems like, which they might still try to do, but it seems like they're banking on this team really being a team that can beat the Warriors. And I don't even know if that's the case.
I actually don't think they are, because aside from LeBron, all their free agent signings have been one-year deals. So they're trying out this team to see if it works, but if it doesn't work, Rondo, KCP, JaVale McGee, and did they get a fourth guy outside of LeBron? If so, they've all been one-year deals.
They got JaVale. You said JaVale McGee?
Rondo. Sorry, I forgot.
Yeah, Rondo. See, I understand. I was thinking about that too because they did sign a lot of one-year deals, but I do think they're actually legitimately giving it a shot this year, though.
Right, with the flexibility of if it tanks, next year.
If it doesn't work, it doesn't work. But I think that they legitimately feel that they have a shot to beat the Warriors. And, I mean, with LeBron James on your team, obviously that's probably giving you the best shot you can possibly have, unless it was the Houston Rockets of last year. But even then, now it doesn't look like they're going to even be able to contend. So why is this brand new super young Lakers team that hasn't even played together, and they're going to have a completely new system, I'm assuming, expect themselves to be the front runners, to beat the Warriors, the best team in the league by far. They're the best team in the league even if Steph Curry is out. Mm-hmm. They're the best team in the league if Steph Curry is in and Kevin Durant's out. This team knows how to play with each other without their main pieces. Yeah. It's it's astonishing, really. I mean, I know Steve Kerr doesn't really have to coach as much as he used to, but it seems like he did set a really good foundation, at least in my eyes. So I'm wondering what Luke Walton has to do. I don't really know, because I don't know how he runs the team with Rondo and LeBron on the same team.
Right.
Because if Rondo's on the court, Rondo does what Rondo does. Mm-hmm. If LeBron's on the court, I feel like LeBron does what he wants to do. He runs the offense when he's there. So what is their plan going to be going forward?
Yeah, and before we even talk about beating the Warriors, how do they line up with the rest of the West?
Yeah, because like that West is so stacked. I've heard some people say the Lakers might not even make the playoffs. I disagree. I think they're definitely going to make the playoffs.
Yeah. And I've also heard people say that they'll be the second seed.
Exactly.
See, I understand where they're coming from, though, because I understand that it's very hard to beat LeBron.
Mm-hmm.
So from the second seed point of view, I don't think they're going to be the second seed. I just feel like the Rockets still have a very good chance at being really good in the regular season because they have Chris Paul and James Harden.
I think that banks on Capella, who's not re-signed yet.
He is not re-signed yet. They offered him an $85 million deal for 4 years. He wanted a $100 million deal. And
I don't think he deserves it.
I don't think he deserves it, but you gotta do what you gotta do sometimes. If you think he's gonna be the piece that gets you that championship, and they only have such a small window, like with the signing of Chris Paul, if we're gonna talk about the Rockets, you have to understand that they created this team now with the idea of their window being small, of their window only being like this, like through 3 years at most, like a span of them really contending. So maybe they do spend the money on Capella because they've already committed to this small window. So that's just the way I see it. Maybe they probably should.
Yeah, I agree. I think their window is like already closing soon, to be honest, because last year, I think they were as close as they were going to get. In this offseason, they lost Trevor Ariza and Luke Mbamute. And I know Mbamute is not like an offensive world beater, but those two were a huge part of their defensive identity, and Ariza too on their offensive identity.
Yeah.
And in return, they've re-signed Michael Carter-Williams and James Ennis.
Right, and you need those hustle, long players to defend players like LeBron James and Kevin Durant in the playoffs. And that's why, in reality, though they did keep Chris Paul, and that'll be huge, I don't think they'll keep Clint Capella, but that would be big for them. I personally believe that their window has closed. I think last year was the Rockets' chance to get to the finals, and sadly things didn't go the way they should have, I guess, for them, but I don't see them even getting back. I don't see them getting back to the Western Conference Finals.
And the thing is, though, about I can't say his name right, but Mbamute, I feel like, did he really even play in the playoffs, though? Like in that Warriors series? I don't think he played that often because they did play their 7-man rotation. I do not believe that he was a part of it. So he is good for the regular season, but I don't think he's going to, which could affect their stamina in the coming playoff time. But if you're talking about playoff time, I think they'll be fine without him. I just feel like, yeah, it's hard to contend with the Warriors when they have DeMarcus Cousins. But, I mean, maybe the Lakers think that they can contend with the Warriors because they had JaVale McGee and they took away a piece from the Warriors. I don't know. I think LeBron James is going to figure something out with this team, hopefully. I would like to see it. And I'm not a super big, like, LeBron fan. I really enjoy what he has done for the game. But just to see someone take down the Warriors is really impressive. And so whenever that opportunity, I feel like, comes, I'm for it, especially in the same conference. Like, if the Warriors don't even make it to the finals, just imagine how crazy that would be.
Yeah.
Like, to beat the Warriors in their own conference, because the Western Conference is their conference.
Absolutely.
It's like how Toronto is LeBron's land. It's the same exact thing.
Yes.
It doesn't make sense. So if that happens, we'd be witnessing history because the Warriors should not lose. Their team is stacked, even if you go off of their starting five. So I would like to see it. I don't think it's going to happen, but I'd like to see it.
Right. And honestly, at least in my opinion, I am really excited because this is how I'm assuming it's going to go down, but it might not. I'm really excited to see a Warriors-Celtics finals. I think that would be really interesting. I think it would be awesome for the young guys on the Boston Celtics crew. But, I mean, if anyone has a shot in the league right now, I think it's the Celtics. But I don't think they have that much of a shot anyways.
If Jason Tatum looks really, really good this season, like I'm thinking he will, yeah, he's looking like he is developing very quickly. And I think he really wants it really bad, especially after tasting almost being in the finals his rookie season. Like, he wants to be there. And they also have Gordon Hayward. They have all of these players that fill every single gap that a team could possibly need and more. So
And you got Brad Stevens.
yeah, and you have a really great coach. So it would be really cool. And it would be nice to see Steve Kerr actually have to coach in the finals. So that would be cool for once. But we'll find out. I'd also like to talk about some Summer League. And I'm really interested in what do you guys think of Trae Young so far?
I think he's been hot and cold. He's had some very bad games and some very good ones.
Yeah. And he's taken some really bad shots, some that have went in and some that have just completely airballed. And this is the thing about Trae Young. He's really risky. He's a risky player, and that's kind of what he's been known for even in college. But a lot of the times, it still works out for his team.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, that happened in college a lot. But the one thing I do like about Trae Young, I really, really appreciate this, and I think the Hawks fans will going into the season, is that he creates a ton of separation. He really knows how to create his own shot, how to get his shot off. And I think that's really important for this Hawks team because they need scoring. And they need Trae Young to do what he does. And he has shown that he does have good vision. He does make a lot of risky plays. He does try some things that a lot of players wouldn't. But you know what? Maybe one day in the league that'll be good for them and good for him. Because you have to have players that are willing to be risky. You can't be great and not take a risk, I feel like. You have to have that. Now, Trae Young might need to pull back on that.
Right.
But it's good to see that he's not afraid of it.
Right, and that's exactly what we're learning here in the Summer League, is that he's not afraid. And that is important, but he's going to have to be a little bit more efficient. Right now he's shooting 38% from the field, and he made 18 free field goals from 47 attempted. Now, he's played 25 minutes, 17 points, averaging, so that's not too bad, but for the position, especially for the position that he has to take for the Hawks. Mm-hmm. And he has to be that number one scoring option on that team, or else that team's not even, I mean, I'm not thinking they're going to do anything anyways, but if they want any shot at even getting to the playoffs and being a serious contender, he has to be that number one option. And these numbers just aren't going to do it.
Well, the thing is that I did notice while watching the Summer League game for the Hawks is that I forgot who the announcer was, but he said, okay, think about, I think it was Jalen Rose. He said, I don't think it was actually watching the Summer League game. It was probably some other type of time. But Jalen Rose said, okay, you're looking at Trae Young, right? And we're all criticizing him. But here's the thing. You know who Trae Young is on the Hawks, right? Who are the other four guys surrounding him? Do you guys know who he is?
I know John Collins because I'm a big John Collins fan. But aside from that, their starting lineup, I could name some of them because I played daily fantasy, but if I didn't do that, I wouldn't know their names.
Exactly.
He leads the Summer League in points right now, by the way. John Collins.
Sweet.
That's awesome. But I just feel like Trae Young has to play a really huge role on his team the same way he had to do in college, and that's not fair to him. I'm not a super big Trae Young fan, but I do see a lot of good things in his game that if he just polishes them and he learns to just be a little bit less risky, take smarter shots, I think he can help his team tremendously. And that's something that's going to take time. He's going to have to learn. I mean, he's only 19 years old, and it takes time to be a good basketball player. Mm-hmm. I mean, it took Kobe time. It takes players time to learn. So I feel like Trae Young can be someone, but someone who's probably going to be someone really quickly is Deandre Ayton.
Ooh.
DeAndre Ayton is shooting over 60%. I'm not exactly sure the field goal percentage, but he is going crazy and doesn't even look like he's trying.
67%, 18 made off of 27 attempts.
And it's crazy. He doesn't even look like he's trying in the Summer League though. If we're being honest, it just looks like he knows where he has to be to score, and then he's there. And then he scores.
And we haven't even seen some really big physical, athletic moments from him, which I'm sure we're going to see in the regular season. But this guy's a beast. He is huge. He's strong. He's tall. And I'm so excited to see him actually get in his bag. But maybe he's just coasting through the Summer League, which, I mean, he was the number one pick. He might be like, I don't got to try.
I feel like DeAndre Ayton, everyone always said there are effort issues, but I don't think once it comes time for the regular season, I don't think those are going to be there. But I also feel like, why try your hardest if it looks like the competition just can't match up.
Mhm.
And he's still been scoring at a very high level, even though, even though he's playing against players who are playing for roster spots, it doesn't seem like they're really doing anything to stop him. So just keep on doing what you're doing until the regular season comes, because you're really going to have to help this Suns team. They're banking on that.
Yeah, I think that those effort issues probably will go away because the Suns team has got to be so hungry after this offseason. They've added a good deal of pieces, not only through free agency, but who do they get in
Mikal Bridges.
and
In draft, I thought you were going to say.
Yeah,
but
I'm trying to think about who they got from free agency.
Trevor Ariza.
Yeah, that's who they got. They got
Oh, that's
Ariza
right.
through free agency. They got Bridges and Ayton through the draft. They just signed Booker to that huge deal.
5 years, yeah.
I know the West is sort of jam-packed, but from a competitive standpoint, the Suns have to believe that they have a shot at the 8th seed. I might not believe it, but they certainly should.
I think it's very possible. I mean, you have Josh Jackson, who, if he develops his mid-range game, I don't know how you stop it, just because he's too fast. You have Mikal Bridges, who can shoot all around the court. You have Devin Booker, who's definitely a dynamic scorer. And then you have Deandre Ayton, who looks like he's going to be someone who you're going to have to worry about for a long time as long as he stays healthy. Almost every position has a pretty good player on that Suns team. I mean, Brandon Knight, now I know he has a lot of silly plays where he kind of messes up sometimes, but he's still a good player. The Suns have pieces to work with. I think it's very possible they could make it into the playoffs. I mean, as long as everyone pans out the way they should.
Yeah. The disappointing thing about the disparity between the two conferences right now is that if the Suns were in the Eastern Conference, I would feel totally comfortable projecting them for the 6th seed or the 5th seed. But because the West is so stacked, I can't do that.
See, I understand. That's how I feel too, but you never know, because, I mean, Devin Booker's hungry, Mikal Bridges is hungry. You got all these players, and a lot of times, a lot of these Western Conference teams don't try that hard in the playoffs, in the regular season sometimes. So maybe they could slide in, luckily. You know what I mean? Just look at what happened with the Nuggets and the Timberwolves at the end of last season.
Mm-hmm.
You could slide in. It's possible.
Yeah, and I mean, also, their bench ain't looking too bad either. You got Trevor Ariza, which I'm assuming they're going to start Josh Jackson. But they got that point guard, I think his name's Okobo. I'm not sure if I'm getting...
Good. No,
yeah,
he's
been
good.
showing some incredible skills in the Summer League this year. And with that, I feel like they could beat out some teams. I'm not saying they're going to be necessarily 7 or even... I'm not even saying that they will make the playoffs, but I'm saying there's definitely a chance, especially if these young players come hungry and they come tough. It's gonna be a war.
It's gonna be interesting, but I know you really want to talk about this guy, so I'm gonna ask you first. How you feeling about Mo Bamba?
I love Mo Bamba, and I'm not too happy to see him on the Magic because their organization, in my opinion, isn't really run that well. And so I think the fact that they drafted Bamba means that they're going to do something with Vucevic at some point.
Mm-hmm.
I haven't heard a single thing about that, but I don't see how Vucevic and Bamba coexist together on the same team.
But how do you think he's been playing in the Summer League so far?
Surprisingly, not as bad as I would have expected, considering that he's on the Magic. I know this. I know this doesn't make the most sense, but seeing the Magic uniform, almost, it's like a cognitive bias. I feel like he's going to do worse because of the Magic uniform.
Makes sense to me.
It's bizarre.
So my whole thing is that I do like some of the things Mo Bamba has done, especially with rim protecting, but I have also seen some things that I thought would be problems translating into the NBA game from his college game,
Mm-hmm.
where he relies on his height, on his wingspan a lot in his offensive game. And that's the thing is that that's not going to work a lot, because if you keep that ball a little too open, you're going to get stripped. And that has definitely happened when Mo Bamba has went up for a basket. So he needs to work on being tighter with the ball. And I think that is something he definitely needs to work on, but it's hard when you have a 7'10" wingspan, I feel like.
Right.
So there are some problems that I'm not too fond of with Mo Bamba, but I do think he has a ton of potential. I'm just a little concerned. I don't think, out of all the centers that I've seen in the Summer League so far, I would say that Mo Bamba is probably my 4th favorite. I feel like I actually, to be honest, this is crazy. I do like Wendell Carter better than Mo Bamba right
Me
now.
too.
I'm happy with Wendell Carter.
It's like you guys all wanted Mo Bamba over. Well, you wanted the Bulls to take him if he was there.
Oh yeah, I wanted Mo Bamba over Carter absolutely at the time.
And it's looking like. I mean, I called him the human block party, but it's like he's really doing some work.
Yeah, just like in a vacuum, Wendell Carter is out blocking, out rebounding,
outscoring,
and out shooting Mo Bamba right now.
Yeah.
What's Wendell Carter shooting?
Carter is 63% from the field so far.
See, and his
Mo
3-point
Bamba's
percentage
60.
is pretty high too, right?
Yeah.
I believe so, at least. I mean, I really like what I'm seeing of Wendell Carter, and it's crazy because no one would have ever suspected in this summer league, I guess, Wendell Carter to play better than Mo Bamba, but I think it really comes down to the fact that Mo Bamba has to learn how to adjust with his body, and that's definitely something he's going to have to do going forward.
And Carter was already incredibly polished coming out of the draft. I know we weren't huge fans of him, but you can't really argue that he wasn't polished. And one of our biggest knocks on him was that he was too slow. He's lost some weight already, and he's working on that quickness. He said so. So I'm slowly becoming happier with our draft pick as time goes on.
He's also very smart too. Like he plays.
Absolutely.
I mean, I've said this before, but he plays really well off the ball, and he's always getting open. The only time I've seen problems with Wendell Carter is when we're running plays and he doesn't turn around quick enough. Like I've seen Chandler Hutchison throw it to his back but that's also on Chandler Hutchison too because he has to look, but Wendell has to know, this is my window. I need to turn around because that was the window. If Chandler waited a little bit longer, that window would have been closed. So I've seen those plays happen from him, but those are learning experiences. But I feel like when you're just talking about playing the game and just going through the motions and doing what you need to do on the court, he's always trying to do what he needs to do. And he plays with a chip on his shoulder. If someone makes a fool out of him, he's definitely coming back that next play. He wants to make a fool out of you.
Take it out your hands. Both hands. I know y'all saw that.
I saw that. That was insane.
I was incredibly skeptical of him, and it was two things. It was one, I was afraid that he wasn't going to be fast enough, and two, it didn't look like his hustle or his drive was all there. And for both of those things, I got to take back. And I'm going to have to swallow that pill because he has been showing in both of those areas really quick development. But you could tell specifically about his drive, he wants it. And he wants to be good, and he wants to be a part of this Bulls organization, especially just hearing him talk and how happy he's been, But, he's looking good. He's 2.8 blocks per game, and he's still super effective scoring-wise as well, 63%. 16 points a game. That's a big deal, and that's going to be something that I'm sure Markkanen is going to go crazy over once they get some time together.
Yeah, I really do think that Markkanen will love to play with a player like Wendell Carter just because it's going to help him do his thing a little bit better and move around the court. So I think that's very interesting. I also think Grayson Allen has been playing a lot better than people expected him to. I like a lot of things that Grayson Allen does. A lot of people were telling me that he wasn't going to be that good, and I didn't buy it because I felt like when I watched his college film, it looked like he did a lot of good things, and a lot of the things he did then, he's showing now, and it looks even a little bit better than when he did it then. One thing I really love to see from Grayson Allen is that he purposely uses his handles, which a lot of players try to do, but has been very effective at it in the summer league so far, to put players off balance and do it for just enough to get his shot off. And his shot is pretty smooth. It goes down a lot. So I'm actually very interested in how Grayson Allen plays basketball. So I don't know. I like him. I don't like that he's a dirty player, though.
Yeah, I don't like that.
He's already gotten into 2 fights, I think, and he's only played 2 games.
2 fights?
Yeah. He got into something with Trae Young.
Yeah, I saw that one.
And I don't remember who the other one was with, but it was down on the baseline. And he got his hands up in somebody's face.
I did see that.
And that's a problem.
Yeah, he's come regular season, if he gets significant minutes for the Jazz, I feel like there's just going to be somebody who won't put up with him, and he's going to get clocked.
Probably.
Yeah, I don't know.
See, I mean,
if he says something to Robin Lopez,
well, I guess
he's waiting to punch somebody.
Yeah, that's a problem with Rolo, but it is the NBA.
I'll throw these roll blows.
It is the NBA though, and I feel like nobody actually really wants to fight because they don't want to lose their money. No matter how much money they make, they could have a $40 million contract, and they'd be like, "Whoa, whoa, 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 whoa! I'm not trying to get suspended, man, because then I don't get paid.
Hold me back.
Yeah, hold me back. Somebody better."
Right.
But I'm really interested now. We were just talking about Wendell Carter, of how the Bulls, just in general, how the rotations are going to work, because there are a lot of options that they could try out. So, is there any starting lineup that you would like to see coming the beginning of the year for the Chicago Bulls?
There's a lot that I would like to see, but like you said, it's hard to know like who's going to get the starting job, specifically at small forward. That's clearly our biggest hole, and I don't think that Hutchison has been showing that he's a lock for the starter. I think it's a possibility, but he hasn't been doing enough, I think, to get that starting job.
Okay, but who do you think then they're going to play at small forward?
That's a good question. Hutchison's a very real possibility. We could throw Holiday back in there, like we did to start the season last year.
See, I was thinking about, probably Justin Holiday's going to start, I'm assuming, but I don't see what the problem would be to have Hutchison start, because, you have Chris Dunn, Zach LaVine, Hutchison, Lowry, and Wendell Carter. A good, the second rotation, the second squad coming off the bench. If you have Antonio Blakeney at point guard and you have Justin Holiday at small forward there, I don't know who I would have as their shooting guard. I'm guessing if they keep would it be Dante Ingram? If they keep him?
It could be. It depends on, I think, whether or not we sign Blakeney to
David
a real
Nwaba
contract.
Too? Yeah, I know.
Nwaba.
They have to keep Blakeney. If they don't, that's just a really dumb decision.
He had a two-way contract last year, and he still has some games left to play on that two-way contract. We can sign him to a real NBA contract, and I think if we do that, then we sign Dante Ingram to that two-way contract that opens up.
So, how long would you sign Antonio Blakeney for?
In
how many
terms of
years?
years?
Yeah, how many years would you sign him for?
I'd probably go 2 right now.
I'd go 2.
2?
Yeah.
I'd go 2. Absolutely.
Here's the only problem with giving him a short deal, is that Antonio Blakeney has a really high ceiling, I feel. And if he turns out to be a very good player, you know what I mean? A very good player, which he very well could be in your second unit specifically, you are going to have to eventually overpay for Antonio Blakeney sooner rather than later. As to if you gave him a really long contract now, you'd be paying him a very low deal.
Mm-hmm.
And it would probably... Because, do you guys agree? You think that Antonio Blakeney could be a good player in this league?
I do, but I think whether or not you sign him to a long deal depends on your confidence level in him reaching that potential, and I don't have that confidence in him yet.
Yes, but if they're willing to sign Cristiano Felicio to a 4-year deal where they pay him $8 million a year, they should be willing to sign Antonio Blakeney to at least a 4-year deal for the very same reason, because Antonio Blakeney has shown you promise, and Cristiano Felicio has shown you nothing.
Agreed, but I would hope they're smarter than that by now. Just because we made that mistake in the past, I don't think we should make it again.
The only thing I'm saying is that Cristiano Felicio has shown you nothing, and Antonio Blakeney has shown you something. So if you're willing to give someone that type of money, and really $8 million a season is not a bad deal at all. You are not losing really anything. If they're giving you at least an average NBA stat line, then you're not losing anything. But if you're paying someone to be in the G League, that's a whole different story.
Right.
So I feel like he's actually going to be on our team. I would actually give him a 4-year deal, just because of this. I think he has a very high ceiling. I think he can do a lot for you. But if he does do a lot for you in 2 years, you are not going to be able to keep him, and you dug yourself in your own hole.
How much money are you going for on a 4-year deal?
I think you could honestly start him off at $5 million a season.
Okay,
and
I'd
then
be
go
happy with that.
and then go up. That's the thing. You don't have to pay Antonio Blakeney a lot, because he's shown you stuff. He's shown you flashes, but he hasn't played enough NBA games to be for sure on. So you don't have to overpay for him. But I think in 2 years you will.
In a business standpoint, I think 2 years is the safest, because there is still a chance that he is a bust. There still is a chance that he crushes under the pressure. There's a chance that it just doesn't work out. But see, now at $5 million, I would be fine with a 4-year. Now, outside of a business standpoint, I would like to sign him at a 4-year because I believe that he will deliver. I believe that he will deliver and he'll surpass what the Bulls are probably expecting of him. But like you said, we've made that mistake in the past, and we don't want to make that mistake again. So I think it is important to be cautious. But 2 or 4 years, I don't think what I am sure of is that he deserves a deal.
I don't think though the deal I would give him, it would not stay at $5 million though.
Mhm.
It would rise every single season because I don't want to have Antonio Blakeney be unhappy. Now, I'm not saying it has to be a substantial increase, but I think there should be an increase, especially because the Bulls have the money and they can afford it. So I think they should give him a deal. I don't know why they wouldn't. Kevin Durant feels the same way. He actually said he doesn't understand why Antonio Blakeney does not have a real deal by now.
That does make me feel good about Blakeney. I've had a decent amount of questions about him because I think he's been throwing up way too many bad shots in the summer league so far.
But I think that can be adjusted.
Yeah.
Exactly. That's something that I think he still needs to develop. But to see Kevin Durant say, "Why isn't this guy signed yet?" That makes me think that maybe I should sort of hold back on those questions.
See, my whole thing is that I don't even think I've seen Antonio Blakeney, I feel throw up a lot of bad shots. I just don't think that all of them have went down. I've seen a lot of good shots that Antonio Blakeney has had where he's created the separation and he's done everything he needed to do to get in the right spot to shoot. But sometimes they don't go down. He had one game, I think he scored 25. His second game, he did shoot poorly, but I don't think those shots were bad shots. They just didn't go in. And the third game, though, he scored 28. So part of me just feels like those numbers might have gone down because of that one game. But, 2 out of the 3 that I've seen, he's done pretty well. Yeah. And it is also just the Summer League, so I'm not going to bank everything on the Summer League when I've seen him play outside of the Summer League.
Yeah, you can interpret this how you want to. I'm just going to get the numbers out there. Out of the entire Summer League, Blakeney has put up the second most shot attempts out of everybody. So, and that'll be his role, I think. If he does get a contract with us, he'll be the shooter on our second unit, along with Bobby Portis, actually. But obviously Blakeney first, if he fills out what we think he can do.
It is interesting though because a lot of people want to see him at point guard, and I would like to see how that works too. But it wouldn't actually. I know Denzel Valentine is listed as a small forward, but I feel like Denzel Valentine wants to be a point guard more than he wants to be a small forward. I think they're just trying to force him into that role. So, would you rather see Denzel Valentine play point guard for the backup unit or Antonio Blakeney because you want to see him more as a scorer, as a shooting guard? You know what I mean?
That's a good question.
Someone has to play point guard, and it's either Denzel Valentine, I feel like Ryan Arcidiacono, or Cameron Payne.
Yeah, that's our big hole at the moment. I don't think Arcidiacono deserves a contract. I don't think he's an NBA level player at all.
At all?
At all.
I don't know. He has made a lot of good plays this Summer League. He has made a lot of good passes. He has found his teammates plenty of times and while they were wide open and have done it very creatively. I've seen him do a lot of things that I didn't see Ryan Arcidiacono do last season. There are a lot of holes because he is a smaller player, and I get that. But I definitely think you could give him a chance, especially because you're not really paying him, and who else do you have at the position?
Exactly. That's the struggle because this might be a hot take. I might prefer to have Cam Payne as the point guard over Arcidiacono. I just straight up don't see it for Archie.
See, I feel like I disagree on that one.
Yeah, I disagree as well.
I really like a lot of the handles that he has added to his game this season that I've seen so far, and I think it really helps him on the court.
And I also have seen, at least off the Summer League, his passing versatility has increased, and he has a few more weapons that I think alongside with our starting 4 or, just in the second unit, but, if he ever got time to play with the ones, it would be effective. And I don't think I could say the same about Payne.
Yeah, he has fed Wendell Carter very well in this summer league so far.
Right.
And that's my whole thing. It's like he has shown you that he is doing some good things. He has improved since last season. And so if you have him under contract, like, I feel like I already know what Cameron Payne is going to be. And Ryan Arcidiacono, I feel like to me looks like kind of a similar player to Cameron Payne, but a player that's actually avidly trying to get better. And that's what I like about him. I'm not in love with him, but I think he could get some minutes off the bench.
Mm-hmm.
So if you were asking me, I would probably, though, still... It's hard because I do like Denzel Valentine for some of the things he does, but it's a toss-up between Ryan Arcidiacono at point guard and Denzel Valentine, because I do like Antonio Blakeney as a point guard as well, but I also want him to shoot more.
Yeah.
But if he shoots more, he can't get the ball to his teammates more. So it really depends on what you want from that team. But I don't know, what does your starting five and then your secondary squad look like?
My starting five, well, I think the only real question at the moment is small forward. So I'll just go down the line. Point guard, Dunn. Shooting guard, Levine. Small forward, I'm going to put Holiday there to start the season, but I'm open to changing that around. You can throw Valentine in there. You can throw Hutchison in there. You can, that's our hole. We can do a lot there. And then the front court, obviously, Markkanen and Carter. In terms of the second unit, I wouldn't be happy about it, but I'm sticking with campaign. Blakeney, Valentine at small forward.
You don't like David Nwaba over Valentine?
We haven't signed him yet.
I mean, we did give him the
the qualifying offer.
Yeah, the qualifying offer.
If we sign Nwaba, then yeah, I'm going to take Nwaba because I'm actually a big Nwaba fan.
Yeah, so am I.
And then front court of Portis and Lopez.
Portis and Lopez. It's not bad.
With your starting five, I agree with all of it except one thing, and that's I want to start Hutchison. I think those are minutes you can actually get back in investment because he's young and he has things to develop. And personally, I want to see him fit into that one unit. So letting them build that chemistry, especially since Wendell Carter's just entering the team now, letting them build that chemistry and let them build that core together, I think is important. And it'll be important doing, once you're on the regular season rather than just when you guys are in the practice room.
I really like Chandler Hutchison, as I guess if you're listening, you know. But I really want him to start just because for the same reason that Emilio just said. It makes sense to have him start so he can learn. Mm-hmm. I want my rookies to learn very quickly. I think that was a very big problem when we used to have the Bulls used to have Tom Thibodeau as a coach because he never played rookies. And so you never knew what you had in your investments. You never knew how good they were because you couldn't see it through practice. You're not there. And practice time is a lot different than game time. So I would like to see him get as much time as I feel like he needs. And I feel like he's going to need a lot of them because he did come from Boise State. And the competition level is going to be a little bit different than he has ever seen in the NBA. So I want him to start just for that reason. Justin Holiday already knows how the NBA game looks. He already knows how to help his teammates. He knows he knows his own game. Chandler Hutchison still needs to learn his game. And if it's not good at first, that's fine because the Bulls aren't looking to be a very good team right now. At least I hope. I don't know if it's going to go that way, though, because the East is very weak and the Bulls do have some good pieces that could fit in very well together. So we'll see how it goes. But if it doesn't go well, you're still fine. And if it does, that's even better. But
absolutely.
I don't know. I really hope this Bulls team does well, and I hope that the pieces they have together fits, and I hope Antonio Blakeney gets a contract. I cannot stress that anymore. If he doesn't get a contract, that's just the Bulls made another dumb decision, and it's going to go on the list of decisions that might not be of the same height, but letting go of LaMarcus Aldridge, not drafting Draymond Green, all of those types of things. It's going to go on that line because you know what? He's a player that could help you a lot.
I don't think I disagree. I don't think you could say it's anywhere near those yet because Blakeney does have that ceiling, but he's still just a G League player to me at this point.
I understand what you're saying, but I'm saying it's still a really huge mistake because he has shown you things. And to not go with what your eyes tell you has been a problem for the Bulls. And it's just, I'm saying, like, the addition of all of these things happening over and over and over again is just going to make it look even worse when he's scoring on another team.
It's not going to look as bad of a decision if they decide not to give him a contract. But I'm with you there, Brandon. I think potentially it could be a big mistake because of the amount of help he potentially could give you.
Yes, potential, of course.
And having KD's blessing is a big deal to me as well.
That's what I feel like, too, because I feel like KD doesn't really say a lot about basketball players unless he thinks they're really good. Like, KD doesn't just say people are good players. He only says players that he feels are good. And I mean, that makes sense because he only wanted to go to the Warriors for one reason.
Yeah.
Like, KD knows... He knows basketball, and he knows that if he goes to a certain team, he knows he's going to win. I mean, they were going to win without him regardless, I guess. But he knows talent, and I'm trusting that. But at the same time, I'm trusting my own self, and I feel like I know talent, and I feel like they should give him this contract, and especially because it's not going to cost you anything. So at the end of the day, I feel like the Bulls should know what they need to do with this team, but we'll find out because they have made other decisions that I haven't been too fond of. But I think that'll be about it for today, unless you guys want to talk about any other rookie in the summer league, or if that's it, then we're good.
I just wanted to say kudos to the league for lowering the age limit back to 18. I think that's dope. That's all.
I think that's really cool. So maybe players from the JBA one day can just hop right in.
Right.
Yeah, I think that's interesting. But I think that'll be it for today then. This is the Unbearables podcast. I'm Brandon Ruiz, and I'm here with
Emilio
and Jack Cowart.
And thanks for listening.